Hello everyone and welcome to today's event where we'll be doing website reviews. So we're going to be taking a look at a couple of our PhotoBiz customers' websites, see what they're doing, seeing how we can make improvements, and see what they're doing right. Might be some things that they're doing there that we can apply to your website or you could do on your own whenever you want to. So we're going to sit back, relax, we're going to get started momentarily. Let me get the websites loaded up. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it in the comment section. In the description, you can always join our website reviews. It's first come, first serve. So join it, sign up on the list, and we can take a look at your website. You can be a PhotoBiz customer or you don't have to be. That's the nice thing. So if you want us to take a look at your website anyway, we can take a look at it. But again, first come, first serve. We'll take a look at it in that order. Today, I think we have 3 websites that we're going to load up and take a look at and see what they're doing for their own website. So I'm going to give people some time before we get started, and we'll launch right in. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, if you want to have your website review, please check out our description in the bottom. You can always join that form and we'll look at your website in a future date. So today we're going to launch right on in. Before we get started, if you need any help or assistance, you can always check out our blog.photobiz.com. There's some great resources there that help you throughout building your website and such like that. Some things that we'd like to announce is in our feature blog, you can see that again, for the 3rd time in a row, we are part of PPA, Professional Photographers Magazine's Hot Ones. This one is for our PhotoBiz AI website creator. It was featured in there this year. So definitely want to check that out. If you don't know what that feature is we can build your website in no time, instantaneously, in about 10 minutes or less with our brand new builder that we've launched this year. So they thought it was a very valuable tool for photographers. You should check it out as well. We also have some other things such as just tips, tricks, or things you want to know more about PhotoBiz. We have it available. Some new things like client gallery image protection, want to learn more about search marketing maps and how you build your business based on that, or maybe you just want to know more about all the tools and features that PhotoBiz has. We have tons and tons of articles that can assist you throughout here at our blog.photobiz.com. So we'll talk more about that towards the end, but let's dive right on into our first website for today. So our very first website is Gray Mountain Studios. Very simple homepage. Just a nice little rotating banner. What would I do differently on here is, well, for the beginning of a homepage, typically we want to have some information about who, what, when, and where about you. Since that is kind of not on this page and it's more of a traditional old school style portfolio where it's just images rotating, what I would say is I would love for all the images to float up to the top higher. I think there's a big deficit here of missing information that could be pulled up to the top. In fact, I almost want it to bleed underneath the logo itself because I think it would just look more stand out and look more attractive. Now, how's it going to look on mobile? Well, you can modify the mobile settings if you need to. You can upload more vertical shots in that style for vertical placement, and it would just look as attractive. That way there's a different experience on desktop and on phone. So something I definitely recommend if that's something that you want to do. I think it'll just make this page look more attractive at the end of the day versus just kind of just being here. Something I also want to make sure that your SEO is incorporated properly. Make sure that these images have alt text for at least driving us to where you are. Because right now, if I was brand new, just launched to your website, I don't know where you're located at. And for me, that means I'm going to have to go searching. And now you're requiring customers to do a little bit more legwork on that side. So just be aware that you're requiring them to do something versus you relying on them to finding things versus you doing it yourself and saying, hey, here's who I am, here's where I locate it. I mean, you could always relegate that below this section right here. It doesn't have to be very long if you want to keep it very narrow and short, but it's just something I would recommend. Otherwise, let's move on to the next page. Next page is going to be right here into session types. So as you can see, it's launching right into pricing. It's very, very what I would like to call the wall of text. It's very simple, straight to the point, which is fine. Definitely would maybe try to break it up with an image here and there, just so it doesn't feel so daunting. You have a lot of information here, and you're waiting for them to select which one is best. You're also putting your most popular session type towards the middle, so it's getting lost when you see 340, and then now we're back down to 45. So let's make sure that, if there's specific items that you want to stand out higher than the other, think about it when you go to any type of website and it's asking you to package. They'll probably put their most popular package at the top and then relegate the smaller packages below it or more expensive packages afterwards. Something they do with that is called what we like to call the squeeze, because if you already know that this is the most popular package, then you're probably going to showcase that first anyway, right? You're telling them that these two session types might not be worth it. But if you tell them at the top that the 235 is the most picked one, most popular, and then below that is like other types available, then they're thinking like, well, I see why people really like this one, but let me see what else they have versus, oh, this sounds good, this sounds good. Well, this sounds great. Why do you even offer these two, right? Because now they're like self-editing already. So why would they go from here and then think about the senior session after that? So you got to make sure that they understand the flow of what you're asking for. And if it's better, if this is the most preferred choice, that way they can, you can either edit out the other ones or put them below. You also can decoratively make this page stand out more. And the way I would do that is maybe having them like truncated in different spaces. So it's not just a wall of text. I think this is fine for what it is, but I do think you can make it a little bit more decorative just so it's a more engaging page. I come here and immediately I'm already kind of glazing over like what I'm supposed to look at, what's the most valuable thing. The only reason why I come to this one, because I see the word most popular. And if this text was bold, it might stand out even more. But for now, that's the only thing I'm looking at. And on this page, there's no option for them to do anything. You're requiring them to move on to another page. Have a call to action that drives them to the next location. Maybe these are all clickable. Maybe they drive all to one central page or specific pages about that session type, or a call to action at the bottom that drives them to either contacting you or booking with you. Right now, you're still relying on them to do extra steps. It's easier to funnel them on behalf of them versus them figuring it out on themselves. All right, so the other page had pricing information on it. So this one, let's see what it's going to be dictating. To answer your questions about pricing, so how much should I plan to spend? Well, relatively, yes. They should kind of already know that based on the previous page. So it's a little redundancy here. This might be more just a standard FAQ page about pricing. I would just let that know in there because they already got pricing information on this type of the sessions. So now you're going more in depth about like specifics. So maybe this is just relatively a FAQ page. Because what makes your images unique isn't really about pricing or how I will view. So this page is definitely more of a standard FAQ page. So it's just something I would want to make sure information-wise. If you're looking for pricing, it's kind of here, but the pricing information really is on session types. All right, directions. This is pretty good. You can add a map block here as well. So if they want to see right away, they can see the address to where to go to. One thing I'm seeing is a lot of places on how to get to the studio, but not an actual like address. Something I would definitely add on there just to make it easier and also make it more SEO optimized at the end of the day. Right now, it feels like we're looking for this location, but why not just give the address as well? Because everyone has the ability to use Google Maps, Apple Maps, something like that, GPS systems. They can just type the address in and just go directly to that location. So something to be aware of. In MapQuest era, this would have been much more useful, and even this can still be useful in those senses, but still nice to have the direct location address. Okay, so trying to figure out what this page is for. Seminar, so it's a seminar. Okay, so this is a seminar. Okay, so this is going to be some information about that. I definitely would highlight things, make it a little bit easier to read. I see that you have two gallery blocks side by side. I definitely would probably just make one single one and just stack them and just have all these images under one umbrella. I think that would be good. I would add an image here at the top just to give it some visual interest, because right now we're relying on a lot of heavy pages full of text, and people who don't read books definitely don't read websites. So just put that on that thought process. The quicker and easier it is for people to get information, the more valuable it is at the end of the day. Attention spans are much, much shorter these days. All right, let's take a look at this page. Again, simple gallery. This is what I was kind of talking about, what your home page should be doing. You can see right now you have this banner here at the top that's kind of not doing anything and just taking up space. Definitely would recommend just doing that with these pages. And again, you can optimize it for mobile just to make it a little bit more streamlined. Anything else I would add to this page? Again, you could have some details to contact you directly or booking a session type right there. Now here's something that's very unique and you could mention on your website that you offer, because no one else in your area is going to be doing something like this, it seems like. So if you're doing something from a film noir perspective, utilizing old school styling and things like that, that may be unique. And people that are looking for something like that might not know to search for it and find it. So this is something that you are uniquely offering people in your area. Definitely would have some information about it versus them trying to discover it right away. Because then you could write articles about it and how it's different in your area. So when people are searching in your location how to, book a session type like this, they'll know what to look for. And that comes to this section here with senior info form. This is going to go straight to a form. Fair enough. Modeling form. Fair enough. Collecting details. Again, fair enough. Yep. All this is really straightforward. Yep. Very straightforward for that. I mean, I can't complain about anything about those types of forms. I mean, they're just forms. But again, I don't know where you're located at. I think I've gone through all this stuff. The closest I can get is on the direction page. And even then, I think, I don't know where you're located at. And that can be kind of difficult for me if I'm coming out of state, even in state, where you're located at. I saw on your forms Pennsylvania just because it auto-populated it. So I'm going to assume that you're in the Pennsylvania area just based on this right here. That's the only place I know that you're in PA. So definitely would want to recommend trying to get some type of detail like that on these pages, just to give Google something to run with. Because right now, Google doesn't know where you're located. And that can make it very difficult for SEO purposes. So if you're having a hard time connecting with customers and things like that, like, oh, how do people find me? Well, right now they can't. Google can't just figure you out. But if you have all the SEO and GEO and schema stuff set up, then of course, then it'll help optimize these pages. Something I also recommend is, maybe having an About You page. I think that would be a long way to learn about you as a photographer. I think it helps them understand who you are, and it's just a type that people find. I also recommend putting a blog out there, give you more content to market with. It's also a great way to showcase your work beyond just these two gallery types. I mean, you could talk about the film noir images. Why do you do that? What inspired you to create that type of work? And why you stand out amongst your competitors with senior photography. You got a very sharp, clean look. Talk about that, something that you're really highly focused on, that you don't want to have anything with heavy alterations or something like that. These are things and aspects that people are searching for, especially as we go into 2027 and 28. Gen Z is looking for more authenticity versus manipulation that millennials and stuff you saw during that area, and especially if like that type, they were looking to make modifications. Now everyone's looking for more clean, capturing their real true self. So I think that's something that you can definitely apply into the structure of how you're writing, so you connect to those styles and those customer types for the future. So I think there's some real potential here, some things that you could easily modify. If you need any of those helps, you can reach out to our team. We also have services that are available that can also do that for you, so you're not having to worry about that, like our coaching services or our We Do It For You services, where our team will do it. And they're very affordable, so if you need any of that help, please reach out to us on that. I also don't even know your name. I'm going to guess Gray. But that's something I definitely would want to have on the website. So something to consider. Okay, so we're coming from a website that has minimal content to what I like to say, someone who has maximal content. Let's see the difference. And what I would do for them is probably edit down. Editing down is a hard thing, especially for people. So you either have people who say too much or people who don't say enough, and the website kind of needs an in-between. So let's see what we got going on. Got this nice pop-up right away. Nice intro banner that we can see their type of work. It looks really clean. This is very nice. A little intro. We have a lot about already like going into personalizing and stuff like that. So I think that's good. And almost that in itself is a little too long. I would make a truncated version of this just to get to the point faster, but it works right here with the image size and stuff like that, because we're talking about the experience. And then we're getting to see a little bit of the experience with the before and afters. Studio tour. This is nice. It would be nice if something was kind of connected to it, so it's not so narrow, but it looks fine. But to worry, don't have a thing to wear. Looks fine right here. Might want to reduce something. Maybe, we'll get to meet you right here. And this is where the page normally, I would say, stops at. And we're just getting to the halfway point. After this, we're going to see the types of art that you, in custom products that you supply, which looks amazing. Galleries and reviews. This right here is becoming way too much, just nauseum, ad nauseum of like what's happening. I would reduce this, keep only these on your about page, or make buttons at the very bottom or at the top just to punctuate things. And I would only punctuate the most recent big things, most popular things. I don't think you need all these reviews set up this way. I would make them much more truncated. These are very large and just taking up space on the page at the end of the day. And you can have pages dedicated to this, which you may already have. But look how much they take, about half of the website space almost, dedicated to people's testimonials. Definitely would make a smaller version, a rotating banner of that, something of that nature, just to reduce the size, because this is just a lot of loading, which is going to slow down this page. Also, people are not going to get that far. They're going to get probably about here before they start looking for like up here at the navigation. So something to consider. How can we reduce some of this content? Definitely would truncate the testimonial section if possible. Even have another testimonial right here at the bottom too. So it's like it's stacks on stacks on stacks. How can we reduce this? I would take some of this elements, keep it on the page, but think about how you could reconfigure some of these elements to that way it's still structurally there, but more reduced. I think that's just going to help at the end of the day, make this page load faster, but also get them to where they need to go next. Check out the About page. A lot of buttons right here. That might be a better way to organize this. But yeah, right now, where should I click? Right? all of them have the same colors, and so that means equally they all have the same weight. In terms of things that you have, in terms of like awards and stuff, I think that's fine. I think you got a lot of dividers here that are unnecessary. I would use a color to cut through, maybe black over here and then white text. That would just punctuate this page stronger because there's a lot of white on white on white, just to make that section stronger. And I would try to figure out if there's a way, more creative way to make this look versus just floating buttons and then our book session button. Let's see what we got here. The section's pretty good. I would probably modify it just slightly because it's so large. I like the section here at the top. Capture your legacy. I probably use a different font because you have more of this font. It might look better. I like how this takes place, but I would also break it up with like either color and things like that so it doesn't feel so floaty and empty of white on those sides. That way when we get to here, everything's now more centralized, and all of a sudden that wideness is gone and now it's more compact. So I would want to make sure there's consistency throughout all the pages. Make sure that we're aligning on that so it all looks consistent and on brand for you. Go straight to booking. Do yourself, and again, pick which weight is better. Maybe this one is off white or off black, more of a charcoal, and this one is the black since that's the one we want to get to. On the boudoir page, I think this section is strong. I would definitely somehow pair it differently. Maybe it's on the side of the image here. Again, or something breaks it up like a small divider. Boom, right into FAQ. This is what we're doing, what I like to call icicling. And it's where one section just takes over and then there's a lot of emptiness. It can look slightly broken. What I would do, I would just modify this. You can do text wrapping, where as soon as it gets to this line here, it's going to come underneath this image, and that'll look a little bit stylistically better. And I would recommend that for all the ones like that on this page. That would make that a healthy fix right away. Gray buttons again versus black, so just be mindful of the button colors. I think, show your best 15 and move on. I think that's all you need. I would even reduce this, maybe your best 10, especially since this kind of goes on to a step 9. They might not make it down all the way to here. And then again, your button choice. Check out the gallery. Now the gallery here, the boudoir experience, the experience in gallery. It's going to be, gallery's more about headshot and branding, it looks like. Got this cool video here at the top, looks really cool. I would want to center this up so it's not left aligned since everything else is centered. Button color is gray, which is fine. If you want to keep it gray or black, that's the option you got to choose. I don't know if you need to load more, but you can. Yeah, it's so relatively short. I would only, again, 15 of your very best shots, and I think you're good to go. And then book. Let's check out your blog. Okay, your last time you blogged was April 21st. Let's take a look at it. Okay, not too bad. Some social media posts added to the bottom. Only thing missing here is your call to action to book. I would have had that there. Let's check out this one. Writing some stories, some narrative behind it. Looks really cool. I like what you're doing with the narrative stuff. I think that's really neat, and then having the images, interchange out there. Get more info, get your invite. Okay. I think for this, you could have your call to actions kind of also interspersed in here. Like, be as brave as her, click here for your session. Things like that. Just to draw people's call to actions a little bit closer to you. One more time, we'll look at another one. Yeah, this one's really well put together. Yeah, So what I'll do, you see how this one has that? That looks great. So I think you've done a really good job with this page. I think it looks really strong. Just add those call to actions whenever you have it. Like you're interested in getting a session, be as comfortable as me. Especially since this one's a little bit more personal. So I think that's really good. Okay, next, e-gift cards, probably straightforward on that. See if you can upload a higher res photo, if possible. It's getting a little blurred. FAQ page. Love that you're using the truncated ones. That way they can jump right to the one they want. Whoa, we got a red. We ain't had a red button yet. Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, it's pretty harsh. I mean, if that's what you want to utilize, I think it looks good. Definitely catches your attention. Something to consider for your other pages if red's a part of your scheme or not. Yeah, it's just something to consider. But that's the only time I see a red button on this website so far. Store for the articles. Okay. Magazine template. Okay. So you're selling that for photographers and such. Okay. Nothing to complain there about. So talk is your contact. Okay, and then you can book here. Easy enough. And then you have the fill out. Join our VIP. Okay, not too bad. Seems pretty straightforward for that. I don't have any complaints about it. Then you have a refund policy. I think that's fine as well. So in terms of looking at this stuff, Tracy, I think you got some really great ideas. I think there's some things that, I think I've looked at your website in the past. Some things I definitely would do now is curating and figuring out how you might be able to reorganize some elements just to make it a little bit more structured and easier for navigation. You got a lot of content, and that's great. Now it's just, slight refresh on some ideas and stuff. How you can make some of these pages a little bit more focused. Like, we don't have a page about products. That's something that we can do with these elements down here. I think this would be really nice to have a whole section that's dedicated to what's involved with the session and what they get. Drive them to a page where they're learning more about this. I think that would be really cool. Just something to consider. So you could have a whole page dedicated to that. You could have a page dedicated to your reviews, right? So you have it here. That's great. On the homepage, we can do a truncated version of that. That's what I want you to do. Galleries, again, modifying this to make it a little bit more attractive at the end of the day. It'll also make the pages smaller, which will also make it easier for people to read. So that's something I definitely would do on this page. So if there's anything you want done on this, I definitely say reach out to us. We can get that thing modified. It'll only really take, I think, about an hour to do any of that stuff. So I think our coaching services would really be helpful for you, and you'd probably work with myself on getting this stuff redesigned structurally. So something to consider if that's something you want to do. Other than that, it's just little tweaks here and there. Again, just watch it back. If there's anything you need us to do, we'll handle it. Our team can assist you from there. Okay, so let's jump over to our last website for today, which is a wildlife one, which is very, I haven't seen one of these in a while. So let's take a look at what David's up to in terms of his website. Okay, so homepage, we got these very cool shots of some cool birds. Oh, and a lion and a tiger. I was about to say, is there a bear? This looks really nice. You could use bigger images and go full broadband across the whole thing. I think that would make it a little bit more splashier. Right now they feel very compact in there, and I kind of want to bleed off the page a little bit. But that's me visually, what I'm looking for when I come to a website. We see where you're located at, which is great. So we see that right away. What you do, you're a wildlife photographer. That looks awesome. And then here we go. So right in here, we can see the types of galleries that you have available. You have favorites, Alaskan bald eagles, ospreys, African wildlife, Asia great cats, and such. So you have all these organized. So good on you. Good on you. Everything seems to be in its own gallery. So if I click here, we'll see all your favorites and you got those labeled. So for the most part, that's really amazing. Got a gallery just for eagles. Let's do tigers. My son loves tigers. Let's see what we got. Look at all those tigers. Whoa. That looks pretty cool. So we got some really cool images here. Let's go up to your about. For your homepage, with the galleries, trying to figure out, as a wildlife photographer, are you doing these photographs on behalf of yourself? Are you earning money that way? Or are you trying to facilitate for someone else, like, hey, you need wildlife photography? That's one thing that I always try to make a point of. If it's for like fine arts, great. I want to know more about that. Or are you trying to connect with like facilities, like, hey, do you want me to shoot your wildlife animals for for your business or anything like that? That's something I definitely would want to make sure that's on here, so people understand right away, like what types. I can see here you're born and raised, has a passion for the medium, capture wildlife, especially bird life. His photographs are displayed right here. So if you're trying to do it for yourself, for fine art, that's great. Just want to make sure that if people come to this website, they know what they're getting in. I'm a serious hobbyist, but maybe this is a full-on adventure for you too. So something to consider. Just putting in those details if people want to book you for, their own facilities, their reserves, anything like that. Let's check out your fine art section. Beautiful photos. This is really great. If I go into here, we're seeing some of the sections that were taken for some sculptures and for Marine Corps. So, right away, you have a great, it's very focused. Now I'm trying to figure out, I'm coming here. What am I getting out of it, David? Is this just for pleasure as a hobbyist? You just want people to see your stuff? Are you wanting people to be able to buy your work? Then I would definitely set up your website for being able to sell some of these photographs. Or is it for people to book with you? I would want to make sure that's set up there as well, so people can connect with you about the option to book you for any objective they might have, because I think you got a lot of great stuff. It's very organized, which is really really nice. But at the end of the day, I want to make sure that we're hitting your goals that you want. You had a website review for a reason, right? So I want to make sure that if your goals are aligning to what you want to do, because if you are a serious hobbyist, are you trying to turn this hobby into something a little bit more financial? That's what I want to make sure when it comes to what the website's purpose for. Is this just to showcase your work and how amazing you are, or is it for something greater? Are you trying to branch out into actual e-commerce? So that's something that we would talk it over. Again, after you have this review, you can always reach out to our team. That way we know how to assist you in growing your website. For the most part, everything seems very well organized, very clean. Some things that I might do just to keep it, so people aren't doing what I like to call ping-ponging. Ping-ponging means I have to click here and then I have to click, back to go out, right? For this, I would maybe get down to here and then have the next gallery as a button option, and then a previous gallery as the other way. That way they can just click here, boom, they go to the next gallery, versus having to come up and click here or going back to the home page and then click to the next one, if you get what I'm saying. So let's keep it where it constantly keeps moving. So there's like a button here, boom, that will trigger them to go to the next gallery, to the next gallery, to the next gallery, and then buttons that reverse that and go to the previous galleries. That's something that you do just to make it a little bit more user-friendly at the end of the day. And other than that, I just want to make sure we're aligning to the goals that you have in place. If you're wanting to grow it as a business, I'd love to know more about that. But yeah, other than that, I think your website's well organized now. It's got to make sure it's serving its purpose. Are you wanting to make e-commerce through it or not? That's the one question that I have for you. Okay, so again, we saw some websites today. A lot of diverse ones, definitely different ones and how they're all categorized. There's a lot of minimalism, which is fine when it comes to creating your website, but having details versus not having details can make the difference in how people are connecting with you and making sure that you're competitive. When you have a lot of details, sometimes that can also be a hindrance just in terms of user experience. Where do you want me to go? What do you want me to look at? There's a lot of buttons here. Which is the most focal point you want me to get to so I can make sure that they are making alignment towards you as a customer? And then we have our third category today, which is the hobbyist possibly trying to grow out of his space. Maybe he wants to turn this into a business. I can't tell because a lot of those details are not there. Right now, it just looks like a very nice personal portfolio, but it could be greater, and it could be bigger than that at the end of the day if that's what he wants. And he just has some small modifications just to enhance the user experience at the end of the day. But those are the three that we looked at today, how we can make those updates and what my recommendations are. Again, if you want to see more, you can always go to blog.photobiz.com. You can see what types of other things that we recommend when it comes to like email subjects in terms of design and post ideas if you want to grow your blog so you can be found on Google a little bit faster. We have a lot of great details, especially as fall comes along. You might want to know how to plan some seasonal content based on that. Check those articles out. And you can see what was released last month. We had a lot of great stuff. What's new? We enhanced our image protection options, so now it's even better than before. We also have the email marketing subject line creator, which helps enhance the options because guess what? Sometimes you have a little trouble figuring out what the subject could be. Hey, why don't you ask PhotoBiz AI? It can now assist you in doing that. We also have some great things such as guides if you need any help getting started, and you can read some of our success stories directly from here, see what customers are doing and how they have made PhotoBiz a big part of their lives. Another thing you can go to is education.photobiz.com. You can check out our coaching services that are available. For 1 hour, one of our most popular services is the design assistance, $150. You can get a lot done in that time. We can reorganize an entire website in that time frame. It's really helpful. But if you need help setting up things like e-commerce and client galleries, marketing, forms and contracts, SEO, and maybe just getting started at PhotoBiz, it's a great opportunity to have one-on-one with someone or just hand it off to them and they'll do it in that hour. You can also check out upcoming events that we have planned. Today was website reviews. On August 28th, we are doing the Ask Me Anything about SEO, so you want to be there for that. If you want to see how you can utilize PhotoBiz for your SEO strategies, definitely want to recommend coming to see that one. We're going to talk about SEO, AEO, GEO, and other things like that are happening in the space so you know how to grow in the space online. You also see that we have a website review coming up after that. Then it Ask Me Anything about planning blog content, and then more website reviews later in the year. We also have on-demand videos that you can check out anytime. So if you're just getting started, you can see our Quick Start series that help you launch into building your website right as soon as you start. You can also check out our website builder demos, e-commerce ones, client gallery, scheduler, marketing forms, quotes, blogs, and the CRM itself are all here. If we're not available, you can do it all on your own by yourself anytime you'd like. You can also contact us directly anytime you need to. Our team is here to assist you. You can see this icon in the bottom corner. You can live chat with us or you can call us right then and there to see how we can make a big difference in your life. All right, that's pretty much it for today. Again, I want to thank our people allowing us, our clients allowing us to check out their websites, how we make enhancements, and I hope you have a great weekend. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to our team. We're always here and available for you. Have a great one.